Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome into First Pitch for Tuesday, June 21st. I am Drew Martin, joined by Dave Koken and Steve Merrill of WagerTalk.com. Guys, reminder, it is $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk. Top play from the top handicapper discounted to just $2. That's Adam Trigger today, so you can check that out. We got 3 games on the slate. We got best bets at the end. 3 good ones here, starting with Philadelphia and Texas, 8:05 Eastern first pitch here. We get Gibson versus Perez. Perez, the lefty, commanding a -115 price tag. That's Texas at home here, Dave. Total of 8. Dave Koken, coming to you first. Phillies and Rangers. Do you like anything here in Arlington tonight?
No, not really. First off, got to find out if Bryce Harper is going to be back in the lineup. He's expected to be back tonight, but I would not want to get involved on the Phillies side until I see his name in the lineup. Harper, a rather important cog, obviously. Gibson going back to a former location for him, as he was with the Rangers. Martin Perez continues to defy logic because he's not supposed to be as good as he's been this year. I mean, the guy's barely a top 100 starter on my rankings, but he's pitching out of his mind this year. The key to his success, nobody's hitting the ball hard off him. His barrel rate, I mean, this far into the season, this is pretty impressive. It's 3.3%. I mean, that's a rather incredible stat. The Phillies, however, have absolutely crushed lefties on the road offensively. They got a 148 WRC plus on the season against lefties on the road. So there's just a bunch of conflicts here. And, you know, the easy thing to do is what I'm going to do, which is just say, good luck, guys. If you want to bet it, go ahead. I'm not going to bet against the Phillies right now. They're just killing the baseball, even though they lost the last game. But it's still, 15-3 under the new manager. And yet, I don't think this is a great spot for them. So it's a leave it alone game for me.
Yeah, Steve. I mean, 14-3 under new interim manager here, Rob Thompson. But to Dave's point, you know, Bryce Harper, I believe he has a blister on his finger. He's been out the last 2 games. But Kyle Schwarber, he's been making up for it in terms of longest on-base streak in MLB right now, 24 straight games. So the Phillies lineup still hitting here, and they're at a plus price. However, the Rangers, Steve, their bullpen is one of the more underrated bullpens in baseball. I think they're a top 10 bullpen by a lot of metrics right now. So the late inning is going their way, and we know Philly's bullpen hasn't been all that great. What are you thinking tonight in Texas?
Well, I think you can make an argument that Philly's offense is cooling off, and obviously not having Bryce Harper's probably had something to do with that. Just 5 and 6 hits the last 2 games, just 5 total runs. So it does look like maybe they're regressing. They're due to cool off after that monster run that coincided with the change in managerial duties. But Philly still, if you look at road-only offensive stats, going into yesterday at least when I checked, they had the highest OPS on the road of any team this season. I'd like to look at road stats, of course, because it takes in all the different ballparks, takes out Coors Field for Colorado. For Colorado, for example, number 1 in the league at home, 28th out of 30th on the road when you look at OPS. So that's why you got to look at road numbers. With that said, though, I do think Philly's cooling off a bit. And as far as Perez, you know, once again, we don't try to catch that falling knife with struggling teams. We don't get in front of those speeding bullets. He's a speeding bullet this year. He's outperforming, as Dave said, but there's always a pitcher or two every season that comes out of nowhere and fixes something and becomes a gem and just continues to win. So until we see otherwise, I'm not fading them. I think the Phillies are regressing, so it looks like a good setup for Texas.
Like it, Steve. Good start here to the show, guys. Shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. Nick saying he likes Texas money line. We also got Robert helping us from Philadelphia. It's more serious than a blister. He has an infection and is taking antibiotics per local sports talk radio. We know local sports talk radio probably's got it right there. So look for maybe Bryce Harper, according to the chat box, being out again here, guys. We got next game up. Steve, coming to you first. We get the Toronto Blue Jays and the Chicago White Sox here. Gosman versus Cease. Total of 9. minus $1.25. That's the Toronto Blue Jays as the road favorite. It was a 1-run game last night, Steve. I know because I was on the losing side of it, man. So what are you thinking tonight? Can the Blue Jays bounce back?
First of all, Teddy Covers used this for his big game breakdown. So I recommend people go back and check Wager Talk today, which is archived here on Wager Talk TV. As Teddy has a nice breakdown of this game. He looks at the total. One thing I want to point out about Toronto, this is a team that coming into the season, everyone thought was a contender, and I didn't disagree. And obviously they got off to a little bit of a slow start, played really well a few weeks ago. They've gone just 4-6 their last 10, but they're still 9 games above 500. And they would be winning 2 of the other 5 divisions in baseball. They'd be winning both central divisions, 2 of the other 5. Yet with that said, they're still 12 games behind the Yankees in their own division. It's just insane what New York is doing. But this is a good Toronto team. I think they're a play-on team here for a majority of the rest of the season until you see other reasons not to. Their offense has cooled off a bit, though. They've put up 3 runs or less in 3 of the last 5 games. However, they've put up 17 runs in their last 2 games. They've started to heat up. Only got 7 and 8 hits, though, so a little bit of fool's gold there, maybe. Thought there could have been a hangover after that tough series against the Yankees. They had the come from behind 10-9 win. In fact, that was the first time in a while the Yankees had blown like a 5-0 lead in the division game. It had been 80-some games that they'd won in those situations. So not surprised that Toronto lost a close one, 8-7 last night in Chicago. I'd look for them to get back on track. I'd probably lean over, and if I had to play the side, I'd lean towards the Blue Jays as well to bounce back.
You know, Dave, coming to the Windy City here, Gosman off of his worst start, his last time out, not very good at all. However, he's only given up 2 home runs in his last 73 innings. You'd like to think he'd bounce back, but I don't know. What are your thoughts here, Blue Jays and White Sox, Dave?
Well, let's first look at the weather because it looks like a pretty substantial wind blowing from right to left. So right-handed hitters who pull the ball could get some bonus effects tonight. So that would play toward the over. What plays to the under is the fact that Dylan Cease is a very tough pitcher, especially when he has good control. And I would expect Gosman to bounce back. His stuff's still solid. He just, had a bad game and it's tapered off a little bit. So, and we move to the offenses. This is really a big conflict. The White Sox at home versus righties have one of the worst weighted run created stats in baseball this year. But over the past week, they are crushing the baseball. So you've got some stuff that puts me on the under. You've got some stuff that puts me on the over. The one constant, by the way, that does make me pause whenever I look at a White Sox game as a potential under is their terrible defense. And it's really hurt Dylan Cease recently because he's given up a bunch of unearned runs thanks to that shoddy defense. I'm going to give you another I don't know. But if I had to play this, I'd look at the under first 5 because I think the 2 pitchers have a chance to shut down the opponents. But there's better games to bet. I'll get to one of them pretty soon. I promise that.
Yeah, the best bet section, guys. We got 1 game left before that. We got the Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres for a nightcap of our show. We get Zach Gallen versus Sean Manaea, the lefty going here for the Friars, Dave. Minus 130 at most shops, as high as minus 135 here, looking at the Wager Talk odds screen. Low total, Dave. Pitchers Park in Petco. Total of 7. You liking anything in Southern California tonight, Dave?
Yes. This is a game I'm betting. I have 2 plays tonight. They're both totals. One's an over, and that's the best bet. And the other one is an under, first 5 on this game, and I'll use it as the best bet of the show. And I'll explain why now, so won't repeat this in the best bet. We're kind of doing 2 for 1 here. First, let's look at Gallen, who obviously is one of the better pitchers in the game. He's off a really weird start, where if you look at his overall line, it wasn't great, but he just had no command early, and he actually hit 4 of the first 8 batters he faced in his last game. And then he settled down after that, and I think he retired 17 of the last 18 hitters that he faced, and that was it for him. So he's fine. No worries there. Arizona, not real good against lefties. Not terrible either. They're about average. But over the past week, the Diamondbacks offense has gone to sleep. Really poor weighted runs created plus over the last week. And it showed last night. They had Darvish on the ropes in the first inning. Darvish had a lot of first inning problems all year. and he had him again last night. Diamondbacks have a run in, load the bases, can't get anything more in, and then they did nothing the rest of the game. So the Diamondbacks offense isn't very good right now. The Padres offense, well, obviously they've got a big hole because Tatis is still a ways from returning, and now Manny Machado joining him on the injured list. This is just not a good offense right now. They had a couple of home runs last night, but that was pretty much their offense. They didn't really do much in the game, and I think this lineup is going to have a lot of problems with any good pitcher right now, so I don't expect them to do much with Gallen. As for Manaea, throw out his last start. That was at Wrigley with the wind blowing out like 20 miles an hour. Good luck to anybody pitching well in those conditions. Manaea, he hasn't been great at home, but I like him against this lineup. I think this is the first 5 under. I think the full game stays under as well. But unders, I prefer to play the first 5 so I don't have to sweat bullpens or the dreaded ghost runner at extra innings, which can propel teams to big innings. So I'm going to go first 5 under with Gallen versus Manaea, and that is a selection for me tonight.
All right. Runs at a premium here, Steve, in the first 5, according to Dave. What are you thinking tonight? Sidewise, the Padres getting swept by the Rockies, but then coming back just last night, and we get the Diamondbacks. They were hot this season. They've given a lot back, though, recently. What are you liking tonight in Petco?
Yeah, first of all, the injury to Machado was awful. I was watching that live when it happened the other day, and stepping to first, trying to beat out the throw to first. He extends, and he actually slides off the bag with his foot. Just a terrible injury. And this is a guy who was 3rd in the NL MVP odds at the time in the betting markets. He had the best wins above replacement in the entire MLB this season. So, that's a big loss. And I think it's going to show probably. And obviously, 4 hits, 4 runs, very misleading, that 4-1 win that you talked about yesterday, Drew, because they only had 4 hits in the game, only left 4 guys on base. They did not have any offense. Miraculously, they got to 4 runs. Arizona, of course, did not have any offense either, just 5 hits, 1 run. 7 runs before that against Minnesota on Sunday, very misleading. They only had 8 hits, 1 run, 4 hits on Saturday. So I think you can make a case both offenses are struggling. So I don't disagree with the under. Under 7 minus 120 for the game. Or as Dave said, a first 5 under 3.5 is a pretty fair number for the first 5 innings. It's only half the game total. And once again, don't have to worry about the bullpens or possible extra innings in what should be a competitive game. On the surface, as far as the side, it looks pretty cheap to the eyeball to see San Diego at home laying just $1.30 against Arizona, who's supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. San Diego, one of the best, but current form is what matters. And I think San Diego's a dicey team right now, especially offensively. So definitely look at the under. Maybe even a San Diego team total under would work as well.
Yeah, and one other note on Machado, there's 2 other things. The offense is obvious. He's a great third baseman. So they're going to suffer a little bit of a decline defensively, and his leadership. This is a massive injury for this team, joining Tatis on the sidelines. I don't see how they can look. The Dodgers are banged up right now as well. The Giants are the team that's making the move in that division. It's gotten very close again, and the dust settles heading to the All-Star break about a month from now. I would not be shocked if the Giants have caught both the Dodgers and the Padres.
Interesting. That race will be fun to watch here in the NL West, guys, coming up. And we do have best bets, but first want to hit the chat box. Got a question here for you. Steve, can start off with you. Robert Gill saying Spencer Strider, one of the most fun pitchers to watch right now. He's talking about the Braves starter. First off, he rocks a 6 stash. He throws 97, 98 miles per hour, had 11 strikeouts last time out. I like him as well. Agree with you there, Robert. But Robert asking a question here, Steve. With the Braves starters and bullpen being so good recently, do you think they have a chance to catch the Mets in the NL East? So we're talking about the NL West there. Steve, any thoughts on this kind of projecting what happens in the NL East?
Oh, no question about it. This is an Atlanta team that was below 500 in August, a month and a half from now last season. They ended up winning the whole darn thing. They had a 3-1 game lead against the Dodgers the year before to make the World Series and blew that NL championship. Look, Atlanta's live, even if they're below 500 in August, and they're well above that now. They're 10 up right now, and that's because they won 14 straight. Looked like they cooled off of those back-to-back losses at Chicago, and they've since won 8-1 the last 2 games combined. So would not be looking to fade Atlanta anytime soon. And I mentioned this in my weekend video this past weekend here on WagerTalk.com, WagerTalk TV. Both New York teams are due to regress, especially the Yankees. They're on a pace right now to go 121-41. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not going to win the whole thing. They're not going to win 110 games. I will take under 120.75, which is their projected win total right now. And the Mets are the second best record in baseball for a while as well. So, yeah, I think the Mets are going to regress a little. The Scherzer injury a few weeks ago, we already saw things can happen. DeGrom's been out. I mean, they're tiptoeing, whereas the Braves are accelerating. So, yeah, would not be surprised. I'm with Dave, too. The Giants just 3.5 out right now in the West. That division is wide open as well.
Dave, any thoughts here?
You know, last year they lose Acuna at the All-Star break, roughly, and they're below 500. It's like, well, that's it for them. And everybody just stepped up. Duvall, in particular, because he was basically the guy who got all those at-bats, and he was tremendous. So now they've lost Ozzie Albies, and it's a big injury. I mean, Albies isn't having a great year, but he's still a really good player. And here's Arcia, who's been pretty much a bust in his major league career because he was a very hot, highly touted prospect on the way up, and he never really materialized. He's going wild. It's like he's got a new lease on life. There's something in the water there. That team knows how to play next guy up. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Mets starting rotation. I mean, you would think that if DeGrom and Scherzer return healthy, how does anybody catch them? But there's no guarantee that's going to happen. I mean, DeGrom's a real health risk at this point. And I think Scherzer will be okay. But, you know, he's getting old too. And injuries start cropping up, and they have a tendency to keep recurring. So I think this division's a long way from being settled. And look, I mean, the Phillies are going to be buyers now that they're back in the race. I think the Phillies are going to do what they need to do to shore up the weaknesses on that team. So it's going to be fun. And the top of that division is very strong.
Sure. The NL East, absolutely. Spoke about the NL West as well. And guys, keep in mind that MLB added a playoff spot. So there's going to be more buyers out there. There's not all that many teams that are really going to be sellers. So it's going to be interesting to watch here down the stretch as we get closer to All-Star break. We got Dave Koken. You heard him here breaking it down. Dave, I'll throw it over to you just a second. But a reminder, guys, he's number one at WagerTalk since 2019 in MLB. You want to check out his packages. He gave you a best bet here. He's also got a best bet up for tonight for the clients. So check him out, WagerTalk.com, his experts page, Dave Koken. Dave, throw it back to you for final thoughts for the show. Anywhere you want to go with this, and just a recap on your best bet.
The recap of the best bet is for the show, and it is a selection form. It's a 3% play, first 5 under with the Diamondbacks and Padres. I just want to mention the Pirates. They're bringing some of these kids up. And these guys can play. I watched them last night. O'Neal Cruz, he's faster than the speed of light. Holy crap. I mean, this guy is just a lightning bolt. There's some excitement in Pittsburgh. Now, I'm not suggesting that they're going to make a big run or something, but I think the Pirates are going to be a little more competitive than we're used to seeing moving forward. And by the way, it's reflected in the price tonight. Big hit, market boost on the Pirates side there. They're big favorites tonight against the Cubs. I don't even remember the last time they were this big a favorite. And I don't disagree with it, by the way.
Yeah, looking at it here, we got them on the run line even, -1.5, plus 130. But you're right. I mean, they're third place Pirates. You got to give them some credit ahead of the Cubs and the Reds, but commanding a -150 price tag. It's kind of rarefied air there for the Pirates. Guys, for my best bet, for my best bet, I'm going to go to the Rays and Yankees game, looking to bounce back here off of taking the big shot with the underdog that fell short last night on the Cardinals. But really looking to fade the Rays, something I haven't done in years. But the fact is, they're real banged up right now down in Tampa. When you look, especially at their middle infield, Wander Franco and Brandon Lowe, they're going to come back at some point. But right now, they're not in the lineup, and the Rays really can't overcome that. They're banged up all over. They're also only 11-12 versus AL East teams. So they've really struggled here against the Yankees, like we talked about, maybe for some regression later. But right now, I'm not looking to step in front of the Yankees whatsoever. And they've proven that they can now kind of overcome their arch nemesis here in the Rays. They beat them a bunch this year. I think they do it again tonight. Lay the 1.5. Don't want to lay the minus 170. Nobody wants to hear to lay a money line minus 170. So I'm going to lay the 1.5 here. They are the away team, so we're not going to have to give up, that 8 to 9 at bats, laying the run line with the home team. So minus 1.5 on the Yankees, plus 100. So even money on that bet. I'm on the Yanks tonight. Steve, throw it over to you. Final thoughts for the show, and what do you got for best bets tonight?
Yeah, going to look at a free baseball play for Tuesday night, June the 21st, a game that was just a bit outside from making the cut. I'm going to get to that in a moment with some analysis. A quick reminder, it's quiet time. Summer, next month and a half, no football, no regular season for 2 months, but baseball every single day. You almost get a full NFL week every day with 14 to 15 baseball games, and this is where you make some money and build your bankroll the next couple months. Check out some baseball specials at WagerTalk.com. I've got a 2-for-1 special tonight on Tuesday. I'm on a mere 12-4, 75% MLB hot streak the past 2 weeks. I've got 2 strong best bets tonight. I made a 2-for-1 Tuesday special. And then also posted a free play, which I'm going to give you right here in the show. A game that was just a bit outside from making the cut, and that's the Pittsburgh Pirates, a play-on team right now. Normally, you don't say it's a play-on team when you lose 9 straight and 11 out of 12, but I think they turned the corner. That knife has bottom. It is safe to pick up that falling knife now, as they've outscored their opponents 16-4 the last 2 games, 19 hits in those 2 outings, bringing up some youth. Whenever you have a 6'7" shortstop throwing the ball over to a 5'10" first baseman at 97 miles an hour, that catches my attention. Pirates are going to be a team that's playing with some youth, some energy, playing fun, and I've got no problem fading the Cubs. Pirates lost 9 straight. Their division rival lost 10 straight, and then they got a couple wins against Atlanta. That wasn't the buy sign. They've lost 18-1 the last 2 games, including 12-1 at Pittsburgh yesterday on Monday. Line's a little high, and that's why this game's just a bit outside. It went from minus 130 to minus 150, but once again, you pick the winner. It doesn't matter, and I think the Pirates win this game tonight. Pittsburgh Pirates at 7 Eastern on Tuesday, a free play for you. Don't forget, 2 games are even stronger. 12-4, 75% baseball run continues with a 2-for-1 Tuesday night special. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Heard it there. Pirates, minus 150. I'm on the Yankees, minus that run line, plus 100 even money, and Dave Koken on the Arizona and the San Diego Padres, first 5 under 3.5, minus 115. Check out Steve Merrill, Dave Koken, WagerTalk.com. I am Drew Martin. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Huge shout out to the chat box. Like always, feel free to reply below in the reply section on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Come back and join us. Please smash that like button. Best of luck with your bets.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.